right. All right. Everybody, today we are going to be talking about focusing on Plan B. I'm just getting a couple things off my table. Let's put those there for now. So today we're talking about focusing on Plan B. And the reason I want to talk about this is because this is something that so many people get caught in, and I think it's a very important thing to address. And so we're going to get into the show in just about a minute. But before we do, as always, I want to reinforce with you guys what this show is all about, why it is we're here, why it is we do what we do. Also, though, I'm going to get this chair out of our way. There we go. That's a little better. So what is this show all about? This show is all about helping athletes reach the highest level that they can in their sport, helping athletes reach their true potential and building their dream careers in their sport. And so we talk about mindset around training. We talk about training tips themselves. We talk about anything and everything you need as an athlete to reach the levels that you want to reach within your sport. And today we're talking about focusing on the Plan B. We're going to get going in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the number one show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I'm your host, Kenny Dusseault, and today we're talking about focusing on Plan B. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this one to you guys is because I see so many athletes that get so caught up in making sure that they'll be okay if their athletic career fails, that they're not putting the energy and the effort into the athletic career itself. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand you want to put yourself in a position where you're going to be okay either way, but I want to talk about a couple of issues with that, and just what you can do to make sure, again, that you can be okay, but also actually give your athletic career the shot that it deserves. So as an example, when I moved to Calgary, the gym that I was working at, basically you started off as an intern. You worked for free. We had to do 200 hours of unpaid, basically just watching sessions, learning, asking questions before we were allowed to take clients. Now, so I was there and I was paying rent at an apartment. I was paying for groceries, doing all that and bringing in zero money. And I was at the gym basically all day, every day. Because the faster I was done the 200 hours, the faster I'd be able to actually take on clients. And there were a few other people that started at the same time as me, but they were, working another job 4 days a week. So they'd come in and they'd watch 3 hours of sessions 1 day a week. And so their 200 hours took them 6 months to a year, whereas mine took me 28 days. And the reason that was so important, because it was scary sitting and watching my bank account drop off. And not knowing how quickly I was going to be able to get clients, how quickly I was going to be able to build up my clientele. But the reason I did it that way and I didn't go get a second job was because every opportunity that came at the gym, I was there to take and other people weren't. Now, I understand not everyone can afford to take the time to not be bringing in money. I had probably $4,000 to my name at the time. And literally by the time I actually was able to take on clients, that $4,000 was down to $600 or $700. And really the reason that was so important, the reason that was so effective for me is I was there for every opportunity that the gym was able to present. So when there was a session to cover, I had my hand up. When there was a new client to take, I had my hand up. When a coach needed help with a session, I had my hand up. I was always the one that was there, always the one that was ready, always the one that was able to work. So I was the one that advanced faster. And the reason that I advanced faster is because I didn't have the safety net of, 3 days a week I'm at this other job bringing in money. I literally brought my expenses down to the absolute bare minimum. I'm a 200 plus pound man and I was paying $37 a week for groceries. Because I was basically eating tuna and lentils for 3 meals a day, which if you've ever eaten tuna and lentils and mixed them together, it is not a great combination, but it's dirt cheap. And because it was dirt cheap, I was able to eat that 3 to 4 meals a day, every single day, and spend $37 a week on groceries. And again, as the time continued to advance, like I said, I was able to get through my 200 hours in 28 days. And because I got through that so quickly, I was able to start taking clients. Now, even when I started taking clients, the way that the system worked at this gym is when you finished your what they called SC1, which was the 200 hours of basically internship, you moved to SC2. And at SC2, you could start to you could start to take on clients, you could start to coach a little bit, you could start to bring in a little bit of money. And so I started doing that really quickly. And same thing, I didn't go find another job to support my utter lack of income that I was still bringing in, because it was up to me to find my own clients. And at the time, I had no experience doing that. I started building up my clientele very slowly, but very surely, kept up with the minimal expenses. And in turn, usually people took about 2 years for their next promotion from level 2 to level 3. And I got mine in just over 7 months. But the reason that I was able to get mine in just over 7 months was, again, because while everyone else had, plans on the weekend, had the other job for a few days a week to support their income, had these other things going on, I was at the gym and I had my fucking hand up for every opportunity I could. And so I got my promotion after about 7 months. And again, unfortunately with this gym, things didn't end up working out because there were some other issues that we won't get into. But I was able to go from my first day at the gym to the highest level in the gym, second highest level in the gym, in about 7.5 months, when most people were taking about 3 years, 2 to 3 years to get there. Because every bit of my energy was focused on plan A. Plan A was coaching. Plan A was being in the gym. Plan A was getting new athletes. Plan A was supporting my life based off of the work I was doing in the gym. And so I was able to do that in less than half the time that most people were doing it, because every piece of my energy was focused on plan A. And this is what I want to talk about today, because so many athletes that I see are, telling me, I want to be a professional athlete. I want to make it to the top. I'm going to be the next UFC champion. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But then the energy, the effort, the finances are focused on plan B, or focused on going off on vacations, focused on going off and having fun, focused on, living life, instead of putting the focus on achieving the life that they want. Does that make sense? So like, as an example, and this is something that, again, understand, this is not me telling you that you need to do this or need to do that. You can choose where your priorities lie. But when athletes tell me, I'm going to be the next, UFC champion of the world, oh, but I can't invest money into training right now because I'm going to school. Okay. If you want to really give yourself a shot at becoming the next UFC champion, is that money better spent at a degree that you don't want to end up using, or is that money better spent investing towards your future in the sport, investing in proper strength and conditioning, proper nutrition coaching, better training, more training, better equipment, whatever else you might need that's going to help you progress towards that initial actual plan A goal? And I know a lot of people are going to hear that and say, well, but what if plan A doesn't work out? Like you don't want to put all your eggs in that basket of becoming a world champion. And to that, right away, I'm going to say, yeah, it's not likely for anybody that they become a world champion athlete. There are a select few in the world. But the only way to guarantee that you don't get there is by putting eggs in the other baskets. If you're spending all your time and all your resources and all your finances on a degree, and you're not putting that towards improving your athletic career, then 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you're going to be nowhere near as far along as the person who decided not to do the degree right away, invest all that money into better coaching, more rehab, higher level nutrition work, all these other things that are going to help them in the actual plan A goal. And then who's going to be further along? The one who put everything into plan A, or the one who's focusing on their plan B and just hoping for the best with plan A? You know what I'm saying? So if your goal is to actually achieve the highest level in the sport, that needs to be clear in your priorities. And this goes with things like a degree, but this goes with so many other areas as well, guys. Like, I see a lot of athletes that tell me they want to be world champions, but I was having a conversation with an athlete recently, wants to be a world champion athlete, but said, I'm not ready to work with a strength coach because, I'm not at that high enough level yet. And I just laughed. I was like, well, how do you think you get to the higher levels? Do you get to the higher levels by saying, oh, I'll wait to invest in myself until I'm at a high level? Or do you get to the high levels by investing in yourself so that can help take you to the high levels? It's the second one, in case you were confused. And look, I understand the thought as well, because a lot of the thought process, when I try to think about it from these athletes' points of view, a lot of the thought process is, well, I need a plan B because it's not a very likely career. Not a lot of people actually succeed in it. So like, this is what I want, but just in case it doesn't work out, I'll do this. And it comes from a lack of self-belief. Because not a lot of people get to achieve those goals. Not a lot of people get to make their living competing in the sport that they love. But the ones who do are the ones who believe in themselves. The ones who do are the ones who actually go all in. The ones who, instead of saying, I need a job 2 to 3 days a week to support my passion, figure out a way to be able to go all in on their passion earlier. The ones who cut out unnecessary expenses so that limited amount of money that they have can go towards pursuing the passion that they want to eventually turn into a career. So if you are listening to this, what I want you to take away from it more than anything is that even if you have limited time, even if you have limited money, even if you have limited resources, if you truly want to be able to pursue your passion as a career, if you truly want to be able to do that for a living, you need to figure out how you can go all in faster. You need to figure out how you can put more towards that goal faster. Because another thing that I've seen happen a lot with athletes before is they're talking about, wanting to pursue their career in their sport, and then their work comes to them with a promotion. And, it's going to mean more hours and I'm not going to be able to train as much, but it's more money, so I should do it. But if it's going to take away from your training, should you do it? You get what I'm saying? And again, you do what you want to do, but if you're truly serious about pursuing a career in sport, then wouldn't it make more sense to have enough money and more ability to train than to just have more money? Because I get having more money feels good. It's nice when you look at the bank account and you're not going, oh shit, how am I going to pay for rent next month? But if the goal is the athletic career, the goal isn't put more money in the bank right now. The goal is figure out how I can pursue that passion of that athletic career full-time faster. Because the faster you can pursue it full-time, the more you're going to be able to progress. And the more you're able to progress, the higher level you're going to be able to achieve. You get what I mean? So stop focusing on trying to make sure your plan B is set up and start focusing on actually trying to achieve plan A. And if you're struggling with that idea, thinking like, well, I'd want to put more money into my training or more time into my training, but, what if it all doesn't work? What I need you to start doing is I need you to start working on your mindset, working on your self-belief, working on that mentality around pursuing your passion at the highest level. Because even as a coach, that's something I struggled with for a long time. Maybe not to the same degree, but a career in strength and conditioning is also not a career that a lot of people make it in. The average lifespan for someone in this industry is under 12 months. In some degree or another, I've been in this industry for 15 years. And the reason that I've been able to stick with it as long as I have isn't because it was always easy, but it was because no matter what was put in front of me, I realized that I would rather work through that than go find another job. I'd rather spend my day, I'd rather cut my grocery bill down to $37 a week than spend 3 days a week at Sport Check ringing in whatever the fuck people are buying at Sport Check these days. I'd rather live in a hole in the ground apartment that had no heat because it was cheap and close to the gym that I worked at than work a desk job that paid me a lot more money that would allow me to actually live in a place above the ground. I'd rather do the things that allowed me to pursue my passion than give up those things in order to be more comfortable right now. And there were times where I didn't know if it was going to work out. There were times that I was very unsure of myself. But in those times, what I leaned into was working on self-belief. And that's what you guys need to lean into as well. Really simple things like behind my computer right now, I have my company vision taped up on my wall. And it's talking about everything that I want to achieve before January 2025 from a business standpoint. And then I have my why behind everything I do typed up on a Word document in my computer, and I review that every single morning. And then I have a journal in my desk right underneath where the computer is right now that's talking about everything that I'm looking to accomplish in the future as well. So the journal has things that my intentions for the day, 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for, and 3 to 5 affirmations for myself every single day. And when you start getting into a routine of doing things like this, reviewing your vision, reviewing your why, affirming, writing down gratitudes, intentions, things like that every single day, what starts to happen is you start to become that person. You start to become that person who believes they can accomplish the things that they say they're going to accomplish. You start to become that person who says, yeah, things are tough right now, but it's going to work out. Instead of, yeah, things are tough right now and I don't know what's going to happen. So what you need to start doing if you're spending a lot of your time on your plan B is you need to start working on your self-belief. You need to start working on your mindset every day to understand that if you actually want to make your plan A come true, you need to throw all the eggs in that basket. You need to go all in on that. And if you can go all in on that, you can throw all the eggs in that basket, you are going to give yourself the best chance, maybe not to achieve the original goal, but if you're shooting for UFC world champion and you end up being career-long UFC fighter and not winning a belt, that's still going to leave you a lot happier than guy who had 4 pro fights but then had to work his 9 to 5 forever because he was never able to actually break through, right? So guys, I really hope you got some value from that. I hope you learned something. If you did, I would love to know what it is, and I would love to know what you're going to take from this and actually apply to your life. Because look, I understand it is scary to go all in. It's scary to say, I want to be a world champion athlete, because not a lot of people are going to believe in that. But the ones who accomplish it are the ones who believe in themselves and the ones who aren't afraid to shout that from the rooftops. So I hope you got a lot from this. If you did, I'd love to know what it is. And as always, my main ask of you guys is, if you got value from the show today, share it with a friend, share it with a coach, share it with a teammate, share it with somebody who's going to benefit from hearing this message. So I appreciate you all. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next episode.